Which thing is a distraction from which other thing? This is always a topic of conversation. Well, the LA deployment of troops is meant to distract from the fact that Trump's clamping down on press freedom, which is meant to distract from the fact that the big, beautiful bill is failing, which is meant to distract from the fact that Trump has done nothing on Ukraine, Russia. I don't know. I don't know what is a calculated distraction and what isn't. But what I can tell you is that when there are so many constitutional crises at once, it's hard to follow all of them. Another one is related to ABC's suspension of reporter Terry Moran for putting out a tweet critical of Donald Trump. Karoline Leavitt, Donald Trump's White House press secretary, was on with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News yesterday. She was asked about it, and here is what she had to say. A true authoritarian nightmare.
Last night, in a since-deleted post, so-called journalist Terry Moran went on a rampage against Stephen Miller. What happened, Karoline?
Well, ABC is going to have to answer for what their, again, so-called journalist put out on Twitter in the wee hours of the night, calling Stephen Miller vile. They said that President Trump is a world-class hater. And this is, again, coming from someone who is supposed to be an unbiased and professional journalist. This is unacceptable and unhinged rhetoric coming from someone who works at a major television network. We have reached out to ABC. They have said they will be taking action. So we will see what they do. But I think this speaks to the distrust that the American public have in the legacy media. And it's why in the White House press shop and in President Trump's White House, we have made so many significant and much needed changes to press access and transparency at the White House. We've invited in new media. We have shaken up the White House press pool. And we also just won a major victory over the Associated Press, who thought that they had a constitutional right to walk into the Oval Office or to fly on Air Force One, and a judge said no. In fact, those are privileged spaces that belong to the president.
All right. So the point here is they are thrilled at the idea of clamping down on a journalist who said something critical of Trump. Now, ABC did suspend Terry Moran. The tweet in question is as follows, quote, "The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He is a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end. And that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment." ABC suspending Terry Moran. This is how self-censorship happens. ABC was forced to do this payout as a result of George Stephanopoulos. I don't know if you all remember this. And now ABC is in a state of fear. And one of the most notable effects of authoritarian crackdowns on the media is that the media will start to self-censor. And that is what is happening here. Now, a couple of bonuses here from Karoline Leavitt. One of the shakiest instances of math I've ever heard, ever. See if you can follow the math of this.
Because this bill provides $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings. And when you combine that with the tariff revenue that President Trump's America First trade agenda is bringing in, nearly $3 trillion over the next 10 years, that's a projection, according to the Congressional Budget Office. And when you combine that with the Council of Economic Advisors' projected growth of 3%, we're going to cut the deficit by $8 trillion over the next 10 years.
If your head is spinning from that, here's the most important part of it. The only way that this harebrained, fuzzy math works is if you assume that all of the insane tariff stuff Trump is doing is going to generate major GDP growth in the United States. She's basically putting on one side of the ledger all of the ways in which the tax bill and the tariffs are going to cost us money. And then she's going, but if we grow 3% a year, it's going to pay for all of it. Now, number one, the math doesn't check out on that, but it would, if we were able to grow 3% a year, it would offset some of the costs, no doubt about that. But there's no serious economic reason to believe that this tax bill that Trump wants to pass and that the blanket tariffs that Trump has been threatening would generate that level of economic growth. This is some of the fuzziest math I have ever heard. And then finally, Maria Bartiromo trying to find out what's the truth of the fist fight that Elon Musk and Scott Bessent supposedly got into. Here's Karoline Leavitt's answer.
Karoline, what I'm trying to understand here is how rough this got, because the president said that Elon Musk disrespected the office of the president. Now, we know that there was real disrespect in a lot of those X posts from Elon Musk, for sure. But did he actually get physical? Was there a fist fight that he body checked the Treasury Secretary?
I certainly wouldn't describe it as a fist fight, Maria. It was definitely a disagreement. Although I was not there, I didn't witness it with my own eyes. I heard about it through secondhand reporting. But again, we've moved on from that. The president has moved on from it. And the entire administration is focusing on passing this bill. But also, Maria, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from our government remains
off topic. She doesn't want to talk about it. She has exited that conversation. This is very much not normal. Very much not normal. Fist fights, body checking, physical disagreements, altercations. This is what happens when you let unqualified and very immature people be in charge, and it's terrifying. If you or someone you love is on Medicare, this is important. The Department of Justice filed a major fraud complaint against 3 of the biggest Medicare brokers in the country. These brokers pretended to offer unbiased advice while secretly steering seniors into plans that paid them the greatest kickbacks. This is why I recommend Chapter. After seeing their own families get scammed, they created a better way. Chapter's fully independent and the only national Medicare advisor that searches every plan available to find the one that actually fits your needs. They advocate for you, not the insurance companies. No steering, no pressure, just expert help completely free. Chapter has saved the average senior over $1,000 a year, and they are a free resource for my audience. So if you want help with Medicare, give Chapter a call by dialing pound 250 and saying the keyword Medicare. You'll talk to a real person who will help you figure out exactly which plan is right for you. Or go to askchapter.org/Pacman. The link is in the description.